Hello, little friends. Today I'm going to tell you a story full of adventures, emotions, and surprises. It's the story of Joseph, a brave and dreamy boy, and how despite difficult times you can always find a path full of hope and love. Are you ready to dive into this incredible adventure? Our story begins in a faraway land, where a large family lived with a father who loved his children in a special way. But among them, there was one son whose destiny was going to change everything. Joseph's destiny. Joseph was Jacob's favorite son. Do you know why? Because Jacob had given him a coat of many colors as bright as the rainbow to show his great love. Imagine having a coat so beautiful that everyone looks at it and admires it. But of course, that also caused jealousy in his brothers. They wondered, why is Joseph given so much affection? Besides, Joseph had some very curious dreams. In one of them, he saw his brothers and even his parents bowing down to him. What a strange and amazing dream. But can you imagine what would happen when his brothers found out about these dreams? Well, they got very angry. Joseph's brothers, full of envy and confusion, began to plan something very bad. On a sunny day, as they walked along a dusty road, they stopped in front of Joseph. Although it seemed like a very sad moment, Joseph never lost faith that something good would come. Kids, have you ever felt sad or confused? Remember, sometimes difficult paths lead us to wonderful places. Once in Egypt, Joseph's life began anew. First, he was taken to the house of a very important man named Potiphar, who was in charge of his household and his people. Joseph was very hardworking and honest, and soon everyone realized he had a heart full of kindness and talent. But as in every great story, unexpected challenges always appear. Potiphar's wife tried to tempt Joseph, but he, always remembering what was right, said, "I can't do that." Although this brought trouble and Joseph was sent to prison, his kindness and faith never disappeared. In prison, something surprising was about to happen. In prison, Joseph met two companions who also had problems. The most special thing about Joseph was that he could understand the language of dreams. One day, two of his companions had very strange dreams. One dreamed of a vine and grapes turning into juice, and the other saw birds devouring bread that fell from the sky. And so Joseph interpreted the dreams. One meant they would soon have the chance to serve Pharaoh again, and the other that something bad would happen. News of this gift spread quickly. Soon, even the mighty Pharaoh heard that in prison there was a young man who could understand the messages of dreams. Pharaoh, a very important king of Egypt, had some strange dreams that no one could explain. Desperate to understand them, he called for Joseph. With all his courage and wisdom, Joseph explained that Pharaoh's dreams predicted 7 years of great prosperity, followed by 7 years of great famine. Impressed by Joseph's intelligence and kindness, Pharaoh decided to appoint him governor of all Egypt. Joseph went from being a young prisoner to being the man who saved an entire country. But the adventure doesn't have to end here. You can become an adventure messenger. How? It's easy. Just hit the share button and send this story to your friends and family. Imagine them discovering these incredible feats and characters for the first time. Years passed, and as Joseph had warned, a time of famine arrived. People from all corners of Egypt came to the storehouses where Joseph had stored the food. Meanwhile, in a faraway land, Joseph's brothers began to feel the effects of the great drought. They, unknowingly, would have to face a great lesson in humility and forgiveness. Kids, have you ever had to ask for help when things got tough? The need for food led Joseph's brothers to Egypt. Without recognizing him, they stood before the governor, who was actually Joseph. Joseph looked at them with eyes full of memories, and although his heart held the pain of betrayal, he decided to show them the power of forgiveness and love. This revelation transformed the atmosphere. The brothers felt very ashamed, but also relieved to see that love could heal wounds. From that day on, the family reunited and moved to live in Egypt, where together they could begin a new chapter full of love, hope, and the certainty that even in the darkest moments, there is always a light of hope. Thus ends our story of Joseph and his brothers. An adventure full of ups and downs, where we learn that envy can cause much pain, but that forgiveness and love are the way to heal any wound. Dear friends, remember that we all face challenges in life. But the most important thing is to keep faith, be kind to others, and never stop dreaming. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful adventure. I hope the story of Joseph and his brothers has inspired you to be brave, just, and full of love.